as always. We now turn over to North America, and US President Donald Trump is set to announce his choice for the Federal Reserve chair in the coming weeks. The White House spokeswoman Karoline Leavitt said there are several candidates he favors for the role. Trump has repeatedly criticized current FED chair Jerome Powell for keeping interest rates high, saying it raises government borrowing costs. The president's interventions have included attempts to remove top policymakers, including Lisa Cook. Some analysts warn that this standoff echoes Argentina's 2010 central bank crisis, where political pressure undermined economic stability. Let's listen in to what the White House press secretary Karoline Leavitt had to say on the issue.
Look, the president is in the same place as you all have been asking about this for many, many weeks. He's in a decision-making phase. There are a few people who he likes very much for this job, maybe less than that. The truth is, like with all decisions, it's a decision for the president to make. And he said to Reuters in that interview last night that he thinks he'll be finally making that decision in the next couple of weeks.
Keith Vaz joins us now. He's a former British minister and he joins us live from London. Keith, thank you very much for joining us. Quite a saga this has been, Keith. Of course, since the opening months of Donald Trump's second presidency, there has been a spat, a rift between the independent Federal Reserve chief, which Donald Trump appointed, and the president himself. How unusual is it for a US president to openly pressure the Federal Reserve like Donald Trump has done?
Good morning, Thomas. It is very unusual indeed. The Federal Reserve is one of those institutions which no president wants to interfere with because it is so important and so powerful. It's probably the most important and powerful central bank in the whole world. And what the Federal Reserve does, the rest of the world follows. So I'm not surprised that Jerome Powell has been on the phone to the governor of the Bank of England and the chairman of the central banks in Europe to talk to them about the situation there. And what's the point of all this? Because he's coming to the end of his term and it's not going to be renewed for sure. What is the point of having an investigation into him and dealing with these kinds of matters? Because it's like interfering, in a sense, with the work of the Chief Justice of the United States of America. You do so at your peril. And unusually, Thomas, you have Republican congressmen and senators now say that they are prepared to intervene in order to support the chairman of the Fed because of this apparent desire by Donald Trump to try and get rid of him early. He's also done this to other members of the bank's committee, you know, it's gone down very badly in the House of Representatives and the Senate and in America generally.
And Keith, of course, as you've said, Powell's term is set to end on May the 15th of this coming year, with Donald Trump being the person who's going to appoint a new Fed chair. If Donald Trump appoints someone more politically loyal to himself, how might that implicate both America's economy and the global economy?
Well, we need to wait and see who's being chosen, because I would imagine, I'm not an expert in the way in which the Senate works, but I would imagine the chairmanship of the Fed, and I'm guessing here, so if anyone starts ringing up and saying that you know, I've got it wrong, I'm guessing, but I would imagine that the chairman of the Fed would have to be approved by the Senate Banking Committee. That's usually the case with all big public appointments. He can't just appoint, he needs to put this person before the Senate and the probably the Senate Banking Committee rather than the House Banking Committee. But it's such a big job, it might go to both. But he won't be able to just say, you're appointed. ring you up, Thomas, and say, Thomas, you're the new head of the Fed. You would have to go before the Senate Banking Committee and be approved. At this moment in time, with midterm elections coming up in November and talks of impeachment if Donald Trump invades Greenland, general anger about the bombing of Venezuela, I think that you might get a very strange result. They won't automatically vote according to party lines, but he's obviously got someone in mind. Looking at his previous appointments, to all the appointments he's made, he's learned from his second term. He's learned from his first term in this second term. He's not appointing technocrats. He is appointing 100% loyalists to these jobs.
Yes, Keith, Vaz, do stay with us as we move over to the African continent for our next update.